I'm sorry, too zesty for you?
You're listening to Comics Podcasting on the edge of civility.
You're listening to The Mean Geek, episode 164.
A plot point for Zombie Night?
Hey,
You think there's going to be a plot point for Zombie Night?
it's possible.
I really don't think it is. And this is, we're 10 minutes into this thing? And already they've dropped flashlights, investigated hands coming out of the ground, and flung their shoe from a tree to distract the zombie.
Which actually worked.
Which is pretty pathetic.
Yeah.
I mean, look, zombies are dead, okay? And you can still fool them with a shoe thrown from a tree when he's looking up at you?
You know,
How stinky is their fucking feet that it attracts zombies?
that's a good point. Well, it's fear sweat.
Oh, yeah, that's what it is. Because the zombies know fear. And whatever knows fear gets at the zombie touch.
Holy shit, Shirley Jones is in this.
No, that was Darryl Hannah.
Yes, I know that.
But it looked like Shirley Jones?
No, on the couch.
Oh,
There's a blind grandmother
Okay.
played by Shirley Jones.
holy crap, it is. I am so unentertained by this flick, dude. So I've been catching up on Chuck episodes.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I'm pretty happy with most of it. Except, he doesn't seem to be, moving forward as a character
No, he doesn't really have much of an arc.
at all. I mean,
Starts a nerd, ends a nerd. Marries a hot girl, stays a nerd.
oh, they get married?
I thought.
Thanks for the spoiler, asshole. They've already fake married 3 times in this season and a half, so it's...
Maybe I'm wrong then. Maybe I'm remembering that. I watched it exactly never without you, so...
I read Power and Gory this week. Bizarro little Howard Chaykin joint. Highly recommended for Howard Chaykin fans. Not so much anyone else on the planet.
The commercial life of a superhero.
A bad superhero with some kind of touching phobia.
Yeah, it was a very strange idea.
If it wasn't so ludicrous, I would have been like, get this the fuck out of my house. But it was so ludicrous that it turned right back around to being amusing. Which takes a lot of effort, because most things that try that really don't get like a third around the circle.
You have to, Howard Chaykin literally made a point of making no one likable in that. Like, that was his goal.
I fully believe that.
Like, it's, are you an asshole or a dick? You got 2 options.
What did you do, Nerdy, this week?
Not much.
Nothing?
No, I was off from work a lot, and so was Commodore Wife. So we watched a literally ludicrous amount of Parks and Rec. Like, enough Parks and Rec that would cause the average person to start to convulse after a while.
I did the same thing with Robotech. I got triggered. I was looking through some Amazon stuff, and I saw a new release of Robotech DVDs, because, having a set already isn't sufficient.
Well, are you missing a volume?
Yeah, I'm missing number 3. Drive me nuts. I don't even know how. Because I got all the extras discs. I got every other single disc. And on top of that, all the slipcases are full.
What was in number 3?
Just more episodes. No, there was no case for 3.
Huh.
So somewhere along the line, I got to be missing a slipcase too. The fuck, man? I'm never loaning shit out again. Especially to El Daltano, mi amigo del Diablo.
You get everything back from me.
Yeah, but you never borrow that stuff.
That's true. Robotech and I do not get along.
I still don't know where my Ultramans are. They probably got him. They're probably missing forever.
Ultraman?
Yeah.
I thought you had brought that to your nephews.
Well, I mean, I had at one point, but I thought I got it back again.
I don't know.
So who the fuck knows, man? So, even though the current version I got is a just utterly terrible transfer, I was thinking 85 episodes for, $39
It's not a
with
bad
all
deal
new extras, including 2 movies
that you don't have.
that I don't have. The movies are not worth $40 on their own, not by a long shot.
Well, back in the day, when you were a huge Robotech fan, a $20 DVD movie was pretty normal.
Well, that was the only option we had, so yeah, it it was acceptable by default, really.
Well, I mean, you also got to think replacing the third set or the third
Yeah.
disc.
And there's supposed to be a better transfer,
Yeah,
which I can really hope for, because I don't know what you remember of anime in the early 80s, but
Almost
most of it
nothing.
was not high def.
No, that I
That was like watching a 4th generation VHS copy. And I know you remember those.
Yes. Yep.
It's like, did he blink? I don't know. Is he shooting somebody? What the fuck do I see here? So, and there's no Blu-rays yet, so I don't know if they're the legal problems that Harmony Gold is having now that Carl Macek is dead are so twack the fuck out. Who knows if there's ever going to be a Blu-ray?
Well, you might want to jump on that before they stop making that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, those were used prices,
Oh, okay.
so they might be around a while. So, what else? I tried reading Albion, which I didn't get. I called it at page 10, but you described it to me as what now?
Basically, Albion was a chance for Alan Moore to take all the British cartoon characters that he grew up on.
Cartoons, not comics.
No, comics, sorry.
Okay.
But yeah, like the random comic characters that were particularly English and sort of, reimagine their future.
Which is why I held no interest in it.
Yeah, it was a strange thing. What I do find interesting, though, is why is it okay for Alan Moore to work on other people's stuff when other people can't work on...
I've wondered about that. What was the last truly original, out of his own head, not a riff on anything else, Alan Moore did?
Well, I mean, all the America's Best Comic stuff.
All right, so Tom Strong.
You had Tom Strong. You had
Promethea was part of that? Okay.
You had Splash Brannigan.
I don't remember that.
Well, he was in that mixed story one with Cobweb and
Oh, yeah. And by the time
Tommy
Terrific
Tomorrow.
Tales came out, he wasn't doing any of that stuff anymore.
but you also had, a lot of those were pastiches or rip-offs.
Yeah.
Like Gray Shirt was an out-and-out Spirit rip-off.
Yeah.
But
And all of the Watchmen were Charlton riffs.
you had Top 10.
Yeah. Top 10, okay, yeah. A superpowered police force that, everybody needed a different power. So there was going to be riffs here and there.
Right.
But, all right, so
Top 10 was all
I'm
him.
with Top 10.
And then only a couple of years ago, he had done that short miniseries, Necronomicon.
No, Neonomicon.
Yeah, you gave it to
But
me.
that was all riffed on
Lovecraft.
so that doesn't count.
But-
And Lost Girls are just fairy tales being dirty, so that doesn't count.
I've never seen that thing.
Well, because it was like $80 fucking. That's why nobody saw that. You just read reviews of it.
And he has an Avatar Fashion Beast book, but I don't know what that is.
That's really recent, though. Swamp Thing wasn't his.
Obviously, all the stuff he did for DC, like
Yeah.
Vigilante and
Yep.
Green Arrow, Batman, Superman, Mongol.
Yeah, he does a lot of stuff that ain't his. So, but it was really Kirkman. When you're talking about being angry about writing other people's characters, it's really the Kirkman manifesto that went nuts about that. He was like, use the big companies any way you can, get famous with them, and go strike out on your own, and then never touch them gasholes again.
Well, Kirkman has his own.
Kirkman!
Viewpoint. I think what bothers Alan Moore is that there wasn't really a way back then to do the kind of stories he wanted to do with the kind of talent he wanted to do independently.
No, that fits.
So he, books like Watchmen and like V for Vendetta,
Yeah.
he had to do through other things, which then makes them touchable, if you will.
Yeah. All right, I can see that.
So, but yeah, I do wonder sometimes why and Alan Moore is a genius, and many of the other people who work on his stuff aren't. So it could be something to do with that. Let's be fair, but why is he allowed to play in other people's toy boxes, but his?
It's a very good question, and I gotta say, it probably boils down to cult of personality, man. He's got a very strong personality, and a lot of people love his stuff so strongly. It's like, what do you mean you'd never accept the Beatles covering Elvis?
No.
Follow it to that extent.
It's interesting though, because of course, on one hand, I want to agree with him because if you create something that you don't want touched, should it be touched? But you don't own it because it's a company, and
it's tough.
It's a challenging area.
You would hope the company would have the ethics to say, all right, fine. But that just doesn't happen.
Yeah, but you know what? Like, if you think about all the guys who created Green Arrow and Batman and Superman,
yeah.
Do you think, how many of them would be cool with what's been done with those guys?
Very few of them. Very few of them. I mean, poor Jerry Siegel, or was it Joe Shuster? Poor Jerry Siegel had to reduce himself to doing, like, risque shit that you have to ask for under the counter of the fucking dark bookstore down the alley.
God.
That's how bad his deal was, and how bad DC fucked him on it.
But if you have like, but regardless of the money aspect, take that away from it. Like, does the person who created Superman really want a movie where Superman kills people at the end?
Probably not.
Or
but those two gave up, or had the book taken away from them so early that. Did they really have them all that fully formed in their brains?
Well, it's the same with everybody though. Like
I'm sure. I'm also in a weird little turnaround of the circle. I'm quite sure they'd probably be happy with whatever happened in The Man of Tomorrow, or Superman for All Seasons.
Yeah,
I'm sure they'd be happy with stuff like that.
Oh, sure. There's definitely going to be positive aspects of things, but there's also. Like the new 52 Superman.
Oh God! If I was Bill Finger, I would be looking to shoot somebody, man. If I was Bob Kane, I'd be walking around with a hot poker looking for an asshole.
Or even the 70s. I mean, do you think Starlin is comfortable with Guardians of the Galaxy? And
Starlin was a bit of a wackadoo, man. I just finished reading about him in that book you gave me.
I told you that the truly crazy shit did not come up till the 70s.
I just finished reading about him, and it's like, yeah, let's drop some acid and write some comic books, man. Just like Grant Morrison.
But
or rather, Grant Morrison's just like them.
Between Brunner and Englehart, like, there were some wacky dudes.
They were trippy. Literally. So maybe he would dig maybe he would dig the squirrel, man, the rocket raccoon. Maybe he would. Groot, probably happy with Groot. Angela, don't know.
There's an insane moment right there.
But anything that gets Todd McFarlane a buck makes him happy. So Angela in the Guardians of the Galaxy, he's fine with.
Such a strange
He is
turn
just
of
fine
events
with that. Well, eventually they were going to do something. He hasn't done anything with the fucking characters himself forever.
Well, that was a Neil Gaiman character.
That's right, but it was in his book, and
right.
He had the rights to her.
Yeah, but he was all, creator rights and all that. That's why Cerebus showed up in an episode issue.
And that follows, but, Neil Gaiman created her for the book, which is different than Cerebus guest starring in it. So, it's kind of iffy. So we've done our semi-serious shit.
It felt so serious.
You want to get kooky? What?
I don't know what you mean.
Talking books, man.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's
You
fine.
jackass.
Freaking me the hell out over there.
I said kooky, not kinky. Jesus.
Oh, dear God.
That's why I...
Just stop talking.
You know what? I don't always make the greatest choices in words, but I make them carefully, okay?
I've listened to you enough to know that that's not true.
Hey.
Why you kids got to be so mean?
Fucking hate you, man. Let's talk some Marvels, huh?
All right.
Today, we have Cap 14. We're going to kick off with a little Cap. I'm much happier with this issue. I was kind of irritated about the jingoism and the far-right horse shit being spouted by Nuke. And it kind of put me down a little bit. I'm like, I don't want to read a book. I don't care if it's coming from a guy like Nuke. I don't want to read this shit.
Remender has shown a distinct lack of subtlety in his take on Cap. You've got, but this issue had a lot of interesting little points, and it still remains unsolved.
This was the ethics book of the Remender run. This was him going, I think we should talk about ethics for a little bit. Which is fine, because you got to hit that kind of stuff when you have a character like Captain America.
No,
because he is the ethics of the country.
Yep, him and Daredevil are your basic, and Spider-Man. Those are the three. You're going to get an ethics storyline in there every now and then. Like, oh, yep.
So
Do I have the right to punish this man for?
Well, these are important questions for characters with these kind of abilities.
But so this was a stronger issue.
Much better.
Some high points and some low points. The action scenes were well done. The Cap Nuke dialogue started off strongly. Then you have the journalists show up. Sam shows up.
Sam calms down Cap a little bit because he was getting close to losing it.
But then you have that horrible moment where they want to capture the camera so that the world, so that Nuke is not revealed to be.
Sam makes a proper decision about that, but it turns out to be a mistake anyway.
Well, it was always a mistake. It's just it wasn't ethical to do. To take the camera from the journalist was not ethical. To let the entire world know that a insane American super soldier psycho was out slaughtering people, also not good.
Wow, why are they having problems with the cops? Get everybody in the car, man. He's got guns. There's zombies. What are you doing? I don't know what's going on this screen. Anyway, so, yeah, that's pretty much the... Oh, come on. There was no need to do that. Accidentally killed the kid, man. Get the fuck out of here. This is a crappy movie. So, no, much better. Was happy with it. Was all right with it. You hit a low point, you thought, somewhere?
No, it was no more subtle than any other aspect.
Yeah. No, he's all about hammering things into place, Remender.
But now you've opened the door as Cap and Sam don't have issues because of Sam's choice here. Which, with Jet Black out there already causing enough goddamn problems.
Everybody in the car is a zombie now. Get the hell out of here. You only need run around, cop. Oh no, now the kid's a zombie. Ugh. So Hulk Annual 1. It was a pretty decent issue. They kind of had some backhandedly openings of possible conversations on history and physics and the ethics of researching. But it's all couched in an Iron Man Hulk team up against a living island.
Who happens to be their professor and, in an ethical sense, taught them to use the military to commit science.
Commit science. See, that's the kooky part right there. This is what makes it comic book.
I don't know. When the sand crystallized into eyeballs, I was like, okay.
That was pretty kooky.
Hi, kids. This is Dr. T.O. Morrow with today's Science Moment. Sometimes science is really fucking gross. This has been Dr. T.O. Morrow with today's Science Moment.
Nah, but it was fun. You know, you can see that, what's his name? Who even wrote this thing? You can see that Jeff Parker really wanted to talk about these kind of things.
What I like is they've really developed a good dynamic between Banner and Stark.
Yeah.
Banner is nicer than Tony.
Yes.
Tony
You think?
is more heroic than Banner.
Yeah.
They're both really fucking smart and way more competitive. Like, finally they've accepted that Banner could not have accomplished certain things without being uber competitive, so they played that into the character for the first time.
Right.
The milquetoast genius is slowly slowed down. But what's insane is how good they are at being opponents and how Tony uses that to piss Banner off because the island is somehow stopping him from being the Hulk for long periods of time.
Yeah, I didn't catch that part. It was like some weird kind of radiation that was fucking with him. Oh,
But,
there it is. I'm saving my grandma, but she's a zombie now.
Oh, come on. Shirley Jones is not going to be it.
Yes, she
Yep.
is. You figure Shirley Jones was like, I think I will be a zombie
Holy
in my
shit,
last
Shirley
role
Jones
before I
just
die.
bit Darryl Hannah. Somebody's had some sort of fucked up dream about that somewhere in life, and ick.
Probably the same guy that wrote Deathbed. The bed,
The bed that eats people. But,
No! I will finish this.
you had to like that moment at the end where Tony's apologizing for pissing Banner off, and Banner's like, no, I get it. You needed me to be really angry so I destroy things. Did you have to be that good at it? It's not my best skill, no. It's like that, it's a Walsh conversation.
It totally is.
It's not what I'm most proud of, but no, I'm pretty fucking talented at angering people.
On the other hand, I read Origin 2, and in preparation for it, I reread Origin 1.
I've never read Origin.
I was not impressed with Origin 1.
Okay.
I didn't... It was like, oh, I'm a sickly kid in pre-Victorian British Columbia or some horse shit, and we have a jackass landskeeper who beats his kid. And we're going to pretend like the kid is going to be Wolverine, but it's going to be the privileged guy. And then he just runs off to a mining camp or some shit where he hangs out with his girl, but his girl falls for somebody else. So he goes out into the woods and kills things for a while and just becomes... Yeah, it was like, this is not an origin. This is just a string of ideas. Now, this one, however, Origin 2, number 1, we haven't read number 2 yet.
That's true.
Origin 2, number 1, the gist of this entire book to me was that Logan gets all Jack London and kills an experimental polar bear.
Well, I think I read this, and I'm sitting there like, why am I reading about... Okay, the walking wolf and the wolf tribe, and then there's a stranger wolf that would eat the cubs, but the man is there.
Yeah.
And then the man tries to befriend a screwed-up polar bear, but he doesn't because it's a screwed-up polar bear. And then the polar bear finds the den and kills all the wolves and the cubs, so the man kills the polar bear. Meanwhile, the lone wolf was looking over like, you could have just let me eat the cubs, and none of, it didn't have to be this fucking weird. And then
yet,
he walks away. And then the big reveal, of course, is that Wolverine feels a kinship with this polar bear because the polar bear was tested at the place that someday will turn Wolverine into a half-metallic freakazoid.
Yeah.
Yeah, big whoop.
With not a single Wolverine anywhere in sight.
It was fine.
It was certainly readable. I mean,
The high point is obviously the art. It looked great.
Yes.
Like, Kubert's killing it.
Kubrick kills everything.
So, yeah, it's a phenomenal looking book. And, Wolverine... Once again, Wolverine is a slaughter machine that everybody loves. It's literally the most ridiculous character archetype ever. And he's so everywhere. It's like, I'm mean and I stab people and I hate everyone. Oh, puppies. What?
Pretty much. Well, he hasn't really found his puppy side just yet.
No, not yet. Not in this. Well, no, he did because he was living with the Cubs and they loved him.
Oh,
and the
wow,
family,
okay.
and
He hasn't found his human puppy
Yeah,
side.
exactly. Wolverine's the only person that ever a tribe of wolves are like, yes, please move in and feed our children.
Maybe
Grind
he
up
just
some
smells
mealworms in
enough
your
like
mouth
them.
and just spill them out. freaking...
Holy shit, I just realized that's Cameron.
Yeah, it's Alan Ruck.
When Cameron was in Egypt's land, let my Cameron go.
I feel like Commodore wife is slowly and surely judging us right now.
Slowly?
But
hammered down.
No,
judgment. Guilty.
It looked great. It actually looked great. And if you're going to read one comic about a mutant who lives with wolves and kills a polar bear, this is the one to read. You know, this is...
Because you got so many choices. What, does Puck do that regularly?
Probably. This is the Acme pinnacle of friggin' polar bear killing Wolverine. Like, it's just
not... Why do you say things like this?
It's just killing me, you know?
There's got to be a little more substance
When
in there,
somebody comes up to me and they're like, why do you read comics? It's not for blood and puppies. Like, that's never been a thing. Not ever have I wanted that combination. And to me, that's what Wolverine is these days. It's blood and puppies. It's like, I'm adorable, and then I'm going to slaughter all the bad guys. And then I'll play catch with an innocent baby. No! What? No! No, I don't want that. No one wants that.
No, he hasn't really gone all berserker rage in a long time. I mean, he's thrown down.
We don't know that. But we only read like 4 of the 37 books that he appears in.
That isn't enough. That's enough for me.
It's been me too, but God only knows exactly how many other books where he's just, Ginsu knifing people left and right.
You're right. He didn't really get nuts in those Savage Wolverines we read. He wasn't terribly savage there at all.
Well, everybody else was savage. He was more annoyed.
He was only in the savage land, really. It was more like the slightly peeved Wolverine.
Wolverine the Irked.
But
that's one I would buy, though. Wolverine the Irked.
And I read 2, which you'll get to in that pile I just gave you. I didn't find it to be an improvement, even though they added Mr. Sinister.
Well, that improves
and
nothing.
Even 25 years later, the mere fact that I have to say a name like Mr. Sinister it just kills me.
No, absolutely. Nothing has ever been improved by the addition of Mr. Sinister. Like, Christ, no.
So, Superior Spidey, 23 and 24. It's been a solid year that Ock has been inside Pete's body.
It's just appalling that we're saying 23 and 24 in 1 year, by the way.
Yeah, don't I know it. So, Ock seems to have begun his long fall as Carlie, and therefore Goblin, know Ock is in Pete's body. He screws up with releasing the symbiote and becomes Superior Venom. Like I needed one more variation on fucking Venom.
I mean, there's just so much going on right now.
It's like every other page is another plot thread.
You've got his little person girlfriend making dinner for his aunt. You've got building her legs, building Flash Thompson legs, using sonar to trace the symbiote out of the body. Meanwhile, the current Hobgoblin is teaming up with the other Goblin and the Green Goblin and Goblinita and all the little Goblin troopers. But meanwhile, the previous Hobgoblin is selling villain franchises, which they're handing the money to the wrong Hobgoblin. And there's a guy who was the Grizzly, but now he's the Bruin because he wants to rebrand.
Way too much shit going on in these books, man.
And you know what I found out? And I had no idea. You've got Captain Watanabe looking for Cooper, even though she's the Shroud or the Shriek or the Wraith or whatever made-up stupid name they came up with.
It's the Wraith.
And Goblinita is Carlie Cooper's sister?
Yeah, I didn't know that part either until I read that.
Blah!
Really? Goblinita? Oh, Goblinita.
How we don't really need you.
That's crazy, man. I can't believe they pulled out another Venom thing. I mean, couldn't they just left Agent Venom and called it even? You know?
Isn't that Venom book fairly popular? Like, that one's doing well.
A lot of people don't talk about it, but when they do, they're saying they like it.
Yeah.
Which I guess bad publicity is... a lack of bad publicity is not bad.
That is true.
So,
No, I mean, anything with Goblinita in it is hysterical to me, but not in a good way. I'm not laughing with you when Goblinita shows up. I am wholeheartedly mocking you. And finding out that Carlie Cooper, which is quite possibly my least favorite Peter Parker girlfriend of all time, is related to her just makes that the suck family bloodline of all time. All right, that's right up there with Banshee and Black Tom for come on!
Banshee and Black Tom. Now that was 23. 24. He hasn't quite started steamrolling toward the end, but it's definitely clear.
There's a little steamrolling. I mean, the police are looking for Peter Parker because Carlie Cooper is missing.
Right.
And Carlie Cooper is suspected and warned people. MJ doubts him. MJ calls in the Avengers.
Right.
The mayor, J. Jonah Jameson, is out to get him again with yet another Spider Slayer idea. His father, Aunt May's husband, is mad at him because Aunt May is hurt by what he says. Venom's pissed as all get out because he might die. He's got robo legs that he didn't ask for.
Right.
And the symbiotes run around the city. There's just so much
Flash
ridiculous.
is dying. They're arguing with Aunt May. Anna Maria is weeping. Norman is using Goblin Juice on Carlie. And oh, God!
Does that make her Goblinita Ida?
I don't want to know.
Because there's already a Goblinita.
No, you're going to find out next issue, in the pile you have now, that Dan Slott has lost all concept of character naming. Goblinita is better than what he came up with.
That's not possible.
And come on, you'll see. I want to tell you right now just to prove the point, but I'll let you discover it for yourself.
Go, Goblinita!
No, it's terrible. No, it's great. The naming of that one character is terrible. The books are phenomenal.
I love Spider-Man. Slott is the perfect Spider-Man writer because he has such a good balance of the humor and the serious. But this, I want Peter Parker back. I want Doc Ock.
Well, he's well on his way. I mean, well on his way.
It's coming.
You can see, we're not there yet, but you can spit to it.
There's a light over at the Frankenstein place.
I cannot believe you pulled out a fucking Rocky Horror reference.
I can't either.
Holy
actually.
shit! Did you get subjected to it?
No,
recently?
not recently. No.
Did somebody come and say you have to watch this?
Sometimes
Walsh,
I would just
maybe?
remember things.
But Walsh did that to you, didn't he?
Nope.
No.
Commodore wife owns it, but she's never made me watch it.
Who did make you watch it? Who touched you in that horrible place? Somebody introduced that shit to you.
Show me on the Frankenstein model where they touch you. No, nothing like that. Thank God.
You didn't just buy it in the video store one day. Who did this to you?
Originally, how did I see it?
It was probably Katie.
Quite possibly, actually. I know I had to go see it on stage with Katie in it, and that was humiliating on a level I will never, ever.
Was it that bad?
I got
it's on stage,
called out.
Oh no! No call outs.
No, I need a lot more beer to tell you what happened with that experience.
Well, you got a rack next to you, so. So that was 23 and 24. So we're enjoying the pace. The pace is really picking the fuck up. For a while there, it was just kind of like, I'm doing some stuff, and you know what? I'll hire some guys because I need some help. The spider bots are okay, but now I need henchmen, which is where we really see Ock turning back to type, because only villains have henchmen. And you never see. How many times have you seen Cap with random anonymous guys backing him up? It's always
Shield.
They're not his.
Oh, wow.
They're not his organization, though.
But they kind of. He works a lot with Shield. He gets
works a
assigned
lot
agents.
with Shield, but Shield does not work for him.
And then there's all the times with the U.S. military during World War II.
Yeah, but he was part of he was part of that organization. They weren't his.
I'm just saying Cap might not have been your best example, because kind of a lot, really. Spider-Man pretty much never.
Right, all right. From the anonymous dude standpoint, yes. But he's not employing them.
No, he is definitely. He does not write their checks. No,
yes.
I'll give you that.
They are not his henchmen. They're partners. They're backup. They're not henching. and I'm going to stop saying the word hench now. Because there aren't any in Thor. In Thor 16...
Thor has a ton of henchmen, actually. All those Asgardians that just show up and get slaughtered. And he does
Well, he
pay
is
them.
the prince, so they would be his.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
he's got plenty of bearded henchmen.
Aaron continues pretty much on point with the escape of Malekith, the execution of Ood as a traitor.
Dude, that was fucked.
Yeah.
Like, that was so bizarre. Like, the little back and forth, like, oh, I think you're the traitor. I think you're the traitor. And then Thor just goes up, it's the troll, and smashes his skull with a hammer.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay,
you were
what?
certain. He was so certain. He's like, you know what? Trolls are the biggest assholes in Asgard, aside from maybe the Jotuns, so it must be him.
And to be fair, Ood has done nothing other than complain.
He's done nothing. So, he executed him as traitor. The breaking of the League occurs, because you can't have a group in a fantasy setting not break up for a little while. It just doesn't happen. That shit was written 50 years ago. It's the template.
Shit has done fallen to pieces.
And what was the big revelation?
Some sort of stomach vomit bug was the traitor living inside Thor.
Ew. Thank you, Jason Aaron, for that.
Apparently Thor was in the
Matrix. The guy is on point, man. I don't know how else to say it. This is really excellent writing.
And
there's nothing even to make fun of.
No,
really,
yeah,
except maybe the
Malekith
vomiting part.
Right,
but.
sure. But Malekith, is so hard to use. Like, ooh, I'm a dark, evil elf. And you're like, dude, to actually find this guy threatening and horrible, and he's just slaughtering everyone. It is surprisingly good.
Because, he was hardcore, and it's not even... He was hardcore when Simonson thought him up and put him out there. He caused a lot of havoc. But who's really done shit with Malekith
Nobody,
since?
absolutely nobody.
So we don't even know how crazy and badass he can be. Or not.
No,
So, I mean, Aaron has definitely come across with the, hardcore template in these issues.
no,
Which is nice, because it's give me something besides the record.
It is a good book, and every time I read Aaron Thor, I'm like, damn!
Although I would like to see what he does with the record.
I totally want to see that.
I read Thor 149 a couple of days ago, and it was a record story where Thor had gotten his powers taken away from him. He only had the real strength to lift Mjolnir. He couldn't throw it. He wouldn't retrieve to him, nothing like that. And his endurance was gone. So Wrecker is just fucking him up, man. Just page after page after page of Kirby fucking nastiness, just pulling down buildings on his ass.
I want to see the Wrecker in the next Thor movie.
That would be pretty cool. That would be something to look forward to.
You know why? Is what you do is you take all the movies, right, and you introduce a B-level villain. So Wrecker is particularly easy from a Thor standpoint because obviously he's created by Loki, so you still have the Loki carryover, which is the female fan base. And then you do an Avengers Masters of Evil movie with all of them.
Yeah.
You do Zemo and Cap, you do Wrecker and Thor.
Yes.
You could do Titanium Man and Iron Man or
Hercules,
any number.
You can, the entire Wrecking Crew could take out Hercules just like,
You don't
just
even need her. Like, obviously, they won't be exactly the same as the Destroying the Mansion storyline, but you could have an entire Masters of Evil by introducing one guy into each of the film.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Well, you could do the Wrecking Crew in Thor.
You know what? I'm happy with the Wrecking Crew is so hard.
Why? Why is it so hard?
Dude, the guy, the Bulldozer, remember Juggernaut running through the walls going, I'm Juggernaut, bitch. That'll be like...
All right, yeah, Bulldozer would not be an entertaining character.
Yeah.
At least Wrecking Ball or whatever the fuck his name is has the Wrecking Ball to swing around.
And then Pile Driver, what that dude does nothing except get punched in the face.
Stuff,
yeah.
So
I'm pretty okay without the Wrecking Crew. Didn't they try to make Thunderball a superhero for a while?
Did they?
Like, he was the coolest of the Wrecking Crews. They made him all right.
No.
Yeah.
No, I don't remember that. Maybe they did.
Damage
it was
Incorporated.
clearly not something. Really? It was in Damage Inc.?
He was like friendly and trying to help them.
Huh.
He was still a bad guy, but he's on his way.
I might have to go get that because I haven't read that since it came out. I don't remember that at all. But no, those are great ideas. I like the way you're thinking. Aha! So, all new X-Men 20. Let's see what my summary sheet has to say about this little gem.
Or, as code goes, I don't remember shit.
Yes, that's the code. X-23 wakes up and tries to escape, but young Scott talks her down, and Jean still can't stay out of people's fucking heads.
That's becoming a real problem.
As such, I've rethought my view on Kitty leaving. She is the only one that can control that stupid red-haired bint. They target these zealots that came in last issue and take off, and are initially successful until Stryker strikes. Sound pretty complete?
Pretty in-depth. You know what I really like, and I really enjoy this, is when in a comic book somebody points out something they should have told the author. Like, when they're talking about X-23 and Bobby is going, wait, they made a clone of Wolverine and they made it a teenage girl and Scott Summers is into her. Yeah, that's just awful. Like, everything about that's horrifying. And you just sit there like, yes, you're right, Bobby. I would not take the world's most dangerous blood and puppy-loving mutant and turn him into a 16-year-old girl either. For any number of reasons.
It just seems imprudent at best.
But
the best you can say it was not smart.
Yeah, but you have to love the moment where the comic book character just looks up and goes, "What? No! Hell to the no! No, that's horrifyingly awful."
See, that's something I read about in one of Peter David's columns decades ago. He was talking about how to write. And it's like, look, occasionally you're going to put yourself in a situation where things are just so ludicrous, you have to have one of the characters note just how ludicrous it is as a code for, look, we're aware, just go along with us, okay? And it's just like, all right, well, you know, it's, all right, you say so, fine, whatever. But Brandon Peterson is doing some good art.
No, the art's fun. The story, there's a lot of depth to the story. It's really good. I really enjoyed this book. The whole mutant thing is so confusing after the Battle of the Atom, and I've hit a lot of inertia with mutants because of that. Yeah. Because I don't care. Is what I want this book to be good. I don't want the 38 other ones to be good. I don't care. Like, give me one or two things that I can actually follow. Stop having, like, someone at Marvel stand up and be Bobby Drake and be like, hey, we don't need an event every 13 minutes. That's, like, ridiculous.
Yeah. But at least they kept Battle of the Atom nice and short. It was
unlike,
two
say,
whole issues
one.
of a couple of books. Zero year?
Yeah.
But we'll get to that.
No, the whole aspect of it is just, you're like, wait, who's where now? And they're living in Wolverine.
They're living in
torture
X-Base
chamber.
X.
Yep.
No, it's Alkali Lake or the equivalent, you know?
Well, I understand is that was a huge government funded fiasco nightmare. You'd think there'd be like a sensor or like a guard.
Yeah, you'd think that somebody would have left a couple of cameras here and there.
Just let it overgrow and disappear. And yeah, that totally makes sense, Bob.
But
You're the worst congressman ever.
I thought of this a little while ago, and I don't remember if we came to any conclusions on it. But weren't the X-Men not supposed to be picked up by any kind of mechanical sensing equipment?
Oh, that's 2,000 years ago. That's when they were supposed to be
dead. Yeah, I know, but how did it stop?
They mutated.
It just stopped.
Once the world, I think once that spell ended and they were revealed to be back alive after the whole Inferno, or maybe that was Inferno when it happened. I don't even remember. But yes, no. Once it became revealed that they still existed, they could show back up on cameras. You know, it's the whole magic thing.
Weird.
It's like that Peter Parker spell. If too many people learn your identity again, the spell will weaken. I'm sorry. What's that now? So if I say something out loud a couple times, your super master spell will just shit the bed? You're the sorceress that sucks, sir.
Stryker. Can't believe there's a Stryker back.
Stryker. Striker.
I don't know what that meant.
Airplane.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, Indestructible Hulk 17. Now, this is where it gets kooky. All right? Mm-hmm. The terrigen bombs from the whole Infinity, Inhumanity thingamafucker need to be stopped, and Bruce is the one to do it. If the rest of the Super Science Football Jock Douchebag Squad will just let him. Because everybody comes up to him and is like, wait a minute, buddy. You know, every smart motherfucker in the Marvel Universe comes up and says, look, we're going to have to do it. And Bruce is just like, let me fucking do it already, man. I've got an idea. And they're just looking down on poor Bruce like, yes, Bruce, we know you're
Let's be fair.
We know you're bright and everything, but we beat you to these 36 other inventions in the last 4 weeks, like we saw last issue, so we're going to take charge of this shit.
Let's be fair, though. You know, if I had a scientist working on the plan to save my entire planet, and if he stubbed his toe, he'd turn into a giant monster freak that would shit out an airplane, which, for the record, required him to first eat an airplane. I might not put all my eggs in that basket.
No, I mean, when you look at it from that perspective, it does make a rather large amount of sense.
Now, what bothers me is not that Tony Stark said, like, yeah, look, Bruce, like, sorry, bub, you're a genius and I'll love you. We've been buddies since we were 7, super genius camp. Go fight Datas. But what my problem is that Tony Stark is sitting there going, I don't really trust you, so I brought Hank fucking Pym with me.
Yes. Of all people, you know? I would have preferred he brought Dr. fucking Doom.
Yeah, you know, find some other smart guy who's not a total douchebag.
You know, kids, we give Hank Pym a lot of shit on this podcast.
And you know why? Because he deserves it. All of it. Is he still doing El Tigre? Hank Pym is a suck butt, sir, and I put it down in writing. I'll sign it. Make a doily. I'll put it on the count. Whatever, however you need me to make this clear.
Now, you're not just basing that on, 1, he slapped Janet. 2, he was Scientist Supreme, right? There's more to go on than that.
Oh,
because
okay.
we've talked about Scientist Supreme on the show.
Yeah, Scientist Supreme, one of the dumbest things ever.
And you know who thought that up?
Dan Slott.
Yep.
But he
I'm
did it
just
to
saying
fuck
that
with him.
you can stop sucking Dan Slott's dick anytime you want.
Scientist Supreme was basically a long-running joke at Hank Pym's expense. That's awesome. I'm sorry, there is no Scientist Supreme.
We didn't know it at the time, though, man.
No, I hated it
like
at the time.
9 issues of that shit.
Well, once that got revealed, I was all about it. On the other hand, he also let's not forget that his major villain was Egghead.
You love Egghead.
Yes, but because he's incredibly lame. Let's not forget that he lost his mind at one point and became Yellow Jacket, the all machismo version of Hank Pym, who had no idea he was Hank Pym and still somehow became an Avenger. Let's not forget that he banged a robot.
We have no evidence that he actually tried to penetrate the robot.
Any way you look at it, that was an unbearably creepy scenario.
No, that was terrible. Jocasta was not... You mean Jocasta, right?
Yes. Let's not forget that he hooked up with several Skrulls.
Several?
Well, he had the Skrull girl, and when he got captured, who knows what he's doing up there in prison. He is a filthy hobo.
All right, these are things I haven't read and don't remember.
No, you remember. You read all this. You knew about the Jocasta thing.
No, that, yeah.
You know about the Egghead thing.
Yeah.
You know about the Yellow Jacket thing.
Right.
You know...
I meant the banging Skrulls thing.
Well, remember, that's how they captured him when the Skrulls were taking over in the Skrull Secret Invasion. Is he hooked up with a Skrull.
I totally didn't remember that. Thanks.
But...
Ass. I didn't want to
Let's not forget that he ran...
There's less room in my brain for other stuff now.
Let's not forget that he was running the camp for superheroes during the Initiative.
Oh, yeah.
Which is when he was hooking up with El Tigre.
That's almost enough right there.
So, I'm running out of things that don't suck about Hank Pym.
You know, this the production on this is really not that bad. It's just the story doesn't stand out in any fashion.
No, they are slaughtering people left and right, though.
Which is what you expect in a zombie flick.
Yeah, but they usually don't. Usually it goes in kind of an order. Like, you never know who's going to go next in this thing.
Yeah. Which is fine, because nobody's got any actual character anyway.
Fair enough.
So the randomness is, it's almost serving the picture.
But, yeah, so, no, I make fun of Hank Pym because Hank Pym is a horrible, horrible person.
But, of course, we know
He's
Banner's
not.
probably going to pull it out simply because it's his fucking book.
Yeah, but you know what? This is also partially Banner's fault, because the other thing you shouldn't do is when you're trying to save the world, don't build a bomb.
No, that's a good thing, too. Some other device, not something that detonates.
A giant aerosol can. Like,
All right, now you're talking Dick Sprang.
I don't care, but you know what? Maybe just step away from bombs. Your history with bombs sucks.
It's very poor.
Like, bad.
So, speaking of Inhumanity,
Yep.
so we got this one shot. I think you wanted it, right?
I believe this is on me, yes.
Yeah, this is totally you. Although Fraction and Coipel, we've come to expect good things from them.
This is not terrible. Like, I just don't care. It's the end
Well,
of one storyline that we didn't read.
right. And the kickoff to another, it's kind of in a gray area
Right.
of actual story importance. Karnak comes to us and he reveals the long and complex origin of the Inhumans, which I thought was previously far simpler.
It was.
And it was. And we finally understand their faults and destiny, but the realization is too much, and of course, left unsaid. And Karnak, of all unimportant characters you've ever come across, offs himself.
Yeah, that was just wrong. I mean,
That was a little over the top right there.
in Infinity, Black Bolt sacrifices himself to Thanos,
Yep.
and Maximus builds a bomb with Black Bolt's understanding, which blows up Adelon, so all the Inhumans are now homeless. And the Terrigen myths are now floating freely, so anyone who's ever banged
Anyone who's ever
banged an Inhuman,
Got
which is not
even.
bestiality, let's be very clear on that.
anybody with a even one small part of the genome that has been
A
passed
gnat's
down
ass
from
worth
God
of-
knows how long ago.
Is now turning into a giant green cocoon and becoming an unbelievably awful Inhuman thing. And this was all done to protect Thane, the son of Thanos, who's a healer, but is actually hit with a Terrigen Mist and now becomes sort of flame, horrible monster thing.
Yeah, it's a bit much.
I'm like, you know what? I didn't read Infinity, and now we're following that up with Inhumanity. So we've gone from Secret War to Secret Invasion all over again, except now we're following the in trend.
I don't know. This doesn't seem like anything I want to bother reading. Everything has to be earth-shattering. You can't just have a good story anymore. All the dimensions have to be at stake at all times. And it's just too fucking big for me. It's just too much. We had 30 million mutants. We killed them all. We got like 3,000 back. And now that wasn't good enough. We need yet more characters. So we're going to turn what a sizable percentage of the population of the fucking planet into Inhumans, who used to be something unique and worthwhile and notable when they showed the fuck up.
And ignorable. Like,
And
totally.
ignorable,
You
yeah.
know what?
You could have a
If
good
you didn't
story
like
with
the Inhumans,
and they could go away. They could go away and they could live on the blue area of the moon and have their little love-ins with fucking Lockjaw and whatever.
when's the last time they introduced an interesting Inhuman?
Never.
No,
The
that's not true.
mid-'70s, maybe?
Yep, Crystal.
Crystal. Yeah,
There
so
you go.
late
One.
60s.
Yeah, late 60s, early 70s, somewhere in there. Other than that, it's the same group that's been around since Kirby's like, I need my own X-Men again.
That's pretty much. I just read that too, and I'm loving that book. What was it? The Secret History of Marvel.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It's really good, but I can't put that fucking thing down. I got to read it not at bedtime because I keep picking it up when I look over at the clock and I'm like, damn it. Highly recommend that book.
No.
Don't really recommend Inhumanity, but I recommend The Secret War of Marvel. We're almost done, baby. We're
What do you got?
almost finished. We got Iron Man 19, where Tony and Arno, I can't get over the fact that they took the Iron Man 2020, which is only 6 years from now, Iron Man. I know they're dying to use him. They're gonna retcon it somehow where it's not his son, it's gonna be his brother. I just know it.
There you go.
They've taken Arno Stark, even though he's in an iron lung, but he doesn't have to be, because I'm pretty certain an Iron Man suit can handle the tasks of an iron lung.
Well, that's how it was designed.
Exactly. That's where I'm going. Tony and Arno have taken over Mandarin City because they want Iron Metropolis to be alive. They want it. They fucking need it, man. They want that thing. But they're hoping to transform it into whatever.
The city of the future.
The city of the future. Because
basically the
simply
Iron Man version
improving
of Disney World.
Existing cities is not good enough for these guys. They got to start from scratch because creator rights, whatever the fuck.
When did Mandarin have his own island?
I don't remember. I think I think it was a factor the last time, in the Mandarin death storyline.
Right.
I think it was a factor then, but I don't remember when he actually took it over. So who knows? Whatever. Pepper meets Pepper.
That was awkward.
Which was really
and
awkward.
Arno, for that matter.
Who is now Helen, with another acronym that doesn't mean shit and doesn't affect anything, and I'm getting tired of.
I just call her Helen.
Yeah, what's so hard about that? It doesn't have to be an acronym, for God's sake. So,
although I like the part where Tony at least acknowledges that it doesn't matter. Like,
it really
your name's
does.
Helen. What's that stand for? You're just going to give me lip and be a head in a bottle. Like, leave me alone.
And finally, Mandarin 1 shows up.
And
Which
Mandarin
apparently
7.
they're all named after the rings.
Yep.
The rings don't have names anymore, like Ice Ring. They're now like Mandarin 1 through Mandarin 10. And they have things like Reconstructor and Fire Sun Ring Bomb thing.
You gotta like the giant Earth Fist coming out of the ground, though, in the middle of a Tony Stark press conference.
That was amusing.
You know what? I love the Mandarin. If he's gone, fuck you. But if I have to live with that, at least have his rings cause some shit. Like, that's awesome.
Yes.
Fuck,
There's a neat
Mandarin
little twist
Jr.
in the next one you're going to like, I think.
Can't wait, man. I'm all about Mandarin rings and Tony Stark. Like, that's fucking fun. Again, great book. To this day, I still can't believe that Fraction left Iron Man and it's still good. Like, that makes no sense to me.
Yeah, it's so hard to have anybody leave a book and then have the follow-up writer actually be good.
Yep.
Because it's usually just some horrible downward spiral once a good writer leaves.
Yep, but no, it's been awesome.
Yes, been very happy with it. We're not getting a whole lot of, ranty material going this episode, huh? It's kind of... It's mildly nice to have a lot of positivity going on about some
we
books.
had some negatives early.
Yeah, but what are you going to do? It was almost nitpicky. So in Uncanny 15.
Oh, girls' night out.
Yes, Illyana continues counseling with a past Doctor Strange, it turns out, which is probably okay because he's into banging younger chicks these days and influencing them unexpectedly.
Dude, when did Doctor Strange become the creepiest man ever?
Well, like you said, he's the Marvel Burt Reynolds.
When did I say that?
A couple episodes ago. It was a title.
Really?
Yeah. She goes to the past to talk to him, though, which was kind of neat because, maybe he'll remember it and maybe he won't, but you don't want to do it now because it might get out now.
I did like Wong. You could tell it was from the 90s because Wong was like, am I still alive? Not him. I don't care about him. Just me. Wink twice if yes.
So she returns home then to find that the Cuckoos want to go shopping with Eva, and hilarity ensues.
Dude, the best part is when Emma Frost is like, oh, yes, yeah, absolutely. We need to go shopping.
This is why I like Bendis, man. He will do the big earth-shattering shit, and he will do the small personal shit.
Well, this is...
And then he'll do the in-between fun stuff as well, that you can just bust out of issue, you can enjoy reading it, you can have a good time with it. you still get a point across.
Well, this is the
It's
importance
just a fun
of
book.
This is the importance in the X-Men too. Is that you need the light moments.
You do.
The X-Men are only successful when the family aspect of them comes through.
And I think it's silly, but it amuses the living fuck out of me that Emma Frost sleeps like a toddler.
That was very, very strange. I'm like, no one has ever thought that. Like, and then it's drawn in such a way that you're like, what? No, that is just bizarre. You did have a really, it was a very Bendis moment, but it's also a really Unsoul moment where the guy who ends up becoming an Inhuman is a mutant racist. And meanwhile, I'm looking at this guy with the face falling off him. I'm like, dude, you need to, you look like Woodrue. Like, shut the fuck up.
Woodrue. That's funny. But, of course they had to have a fight in the middle of everything. You can't have an X episode where somebody doesn't get smacked around for some reason. But he's got room for it all.
Yep. No, nothing feels forced. And then you even have, there's more movement in this than there was in Flammation or whatever the hell it is this time. But
and I think, Rappaccini seems to be a pretty decent villainess. She hasn't done a whole hell of a lot lately. We've seen her in a couple of other things here and there. But she doesn't seem like a bad AIM leader to me.
Dude, you have AIM show up and they're like, and steal an Inhuman. Like, that's just awesome. They're not trying to buy a goddamn island.
Yeah.
They're stealing an Inhuman to do crazy AIM experiments on.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And that's
horrible.
good shit.
Horrible, but awesome.
Let's finish it off, huh?
What do we got?
We got Amazing XMen 2. Half the team is in hell, half the team is in heaven, fighting either demons or flying soul pirates or Western-themed soul stealers.
Yeah, first off, a small...
Come again?
Yeah, no, this I want this to end very quickly. I think that this book has potential. I think it's already over with the new X-Men revamp or what. I'm totally confused.
Yeah, the previews this month looks like they're already changing tack severely. Which did you even try, fellas?
I like the combination of Aaron and McGinnis. I love McGinnis' art in this. I think Aaron's a great writer. But the heaven hell thing, and then for the record, the pirate captains are Jack the Ripper and Billy the Kid.
Pushing it a little bit.
Le humbug.
Le humbug.
You have to love there's a couple cool moments where Bobby Drake freezes all of hell and looks incredibly awesome, and then follows that up by passing out. Yeah. That's awesome. Making Storm a badass is pretty cool. Making Firestorm...
Well, to be fair, Storm's always been a badass.
Right.
We don't always see it, but she's been pretty hardcore for a long time. She learned to fight like a motherfucker when she lost her powers and became the Morlock leader.
No, it's true. She's a legit badass. And they show that well.
However, I think they got a long way to go with Firestar, though.
You know what? It's just such a random character, and her and Bobby flirtation is confusing to me because you've got the other Bobby out there, and wasn't he with Kid? Like, I don't understand anything anymore.
Yeah, there's a bit too much. I don't even know how to describe it. There's a lot of let's make everybody make out going on around here. And I don't really understand most of the pairings. Like, you got Bobby and Kitty. They broke up. Now Bobby and Firestar may be something.
I love that, though, because then you're getting back to the Spidey Friends cartoon. Like, that's just awesome.
But then, what's his face? I totally lost my sentence. Young Scott and X-23, and it just gets weirder and weirder. It's
Beast
like, okay,
and Jean
look.
Grey, Wolverine and Jean Grey. Like,
This is why mutants occur, because of all this fucking incest. Every mutant is banging every other mutant, eventually. I mean, now what you're going to find out, I didn't know this. I'm going to spoil it for you.
What do you got?
In the next Amazing X-Men, it turns out that Nightcrawler and Storm were an item for a while.
Ooh.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out, like, wait a minute now. I've been reading fucking X-Men books since 1985.
What, you
I've
stopped
bought
pretty consistently in 1993, 5? Five.
with Onslaught.
Yeah. I'm out.
But the impression that I got from this next issue was they were an item together long before any kind of onslaughtiness. I started in 85. I bought years and years and years of back issues before that. I've got that disc of all 40 years from 61 to 40,
I got you that.
2001. Yeah. And I couldn't find, I don't remember any of this, Nightcrawler Storm shit.
How many of those do you have, those discs? 4?
All right, so I got 40 years of Fantastic Four. I got 40 years of Avengers. I got 40 years of X-Men. 40 years of Iron Man. And the pièce de résistance, because it's so fucking horrible, the Star Trek one. Up until, 2009? 2005, somewhere in there. Every Star Trek book published by any publisher is on there.
That's amazing.
It's amazing. And you know for a fact that nobody who wrote those things either used their real name or have ever seen an episode of Star Trek, because what they would do...
Or a science textbook.
Or any, nobody ever read Niven. Nobody... Nothing in there. Everything was, let's laser blast them. No, dude, it's phasers. This is not nitpicky. This is integral to Star Trek being Star Trek. You have to say it's a phaser. That's just the way it goes. With Star Wars, you can say blaster, and it doesn't matter. It can be a laser. It could be whatever the fuck. Because they very few explicit lasers in Star Wars is blasters, because you blasted him. You shot the fucker and he blew up, he's blasted. But Star Trek is very specifically adamant about it being a fucking phaser. So you can't say your laser pistol. And the letterers would constantly put anything remotely technical or genre or jargon in fucking quotations. Let's open up our tricorder and see if there's any alien life around here. It's amazing. There's giant jets of flame shooting out the back of the nacelles of the Enterprise. And you don't even like Star Trek, and you know that doesn't happen.
Nope. I really don't care for Star Trek at all, and I'm fairly certain that it is not a fucking 1978 hog.
They got flames coming out the shuttle bay as a rocket. They don't know nothing. They were just like, here's a book, here's some character sketches, here's a ship. Go.
This guy's an alien. He talks very formally.
And that's the show. We do want to let you guys know, however, that it's the 17th of February, and on the 5th of March will be our 5th anniversary podcasting. We know our numbers don't match it up quite right, but we're lazy fucks, so whatever. But we are going to give away some comic books as a result.
Woohoo!
So, you're all going to know about this after the fact. The books will have been given away already.
Well,
but
there'll be some posts on the site.
Yep. I will be talking about it more extensively on Twitter and Facebook, so you'll know. You'll get your chance to throw in for it. And, hey, it's been fucking amazing hanging out with you and yapping about comics for 5 fucking years.
True dat, homie.
We actually got some progress, man. We were, we were pretty fucking rough those first 50 episodes, man.
I was so drunk I don't even remember. Those were the Halicon days. Those are my fondest memories, and I don't remember them.
That's because you got to listen to some episodes. You've never listened to even one episode.
No, that's
after
not
it's
true.
Produced.
I've listened to about 4 or 5. Not all the way through or anything, but I've turned them on and listened to myself. And I'm like, I don't sound like that, and turned them off. One or two.
Why am I all nasally?
What's going on? Gilbert fucking Gottfried, what?
Is there something
on this podcast that I can hand to you and make you say, I kind of like these guys a little bit.
I will say, though, pretty impressive. We are out of 30,000.
There's 30,000 some odd podcasts on Stitcher.
Not comic, just in general.
In general, on Stitcher. We recently broke the top third by being number 9,664.
That's such a ridiculous positive and negative at the same. Like reveling in the fact that you're 9,600th. Well, yeah, dude. We're only being beaten by virtually everyone. Fuck yeah! And yet, the fact that there's 20,000 people even lower than us. I assume.
Yeah, like Comic Cabal, but.
Aww. Why you gotta be so mean?
Hit that low-hanging fruit. So, no, Alias Ego's now got his own podcast. He's podcasting now.
Really?
Yeah, we might have to Skype his ass in on 50.
Yeah, absolutely. I love Alias Ego. What's have you listened to it?
No, he didn't actually say which one it was. He's like, yeah, I recorded my first podcast. I was going to do this. I've talked to other people on shows, and I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm like, dude, you want to have an example of not knowing what you're fucking doing, man. Listen to our first 10 episodes. But enough meta. The episode's over. The zombie flick, I think this is the first time we've made it through an episode before a zombie flick.
Yeah, it's been quite a while since we watched an entire zombie flick. The last couple,
yes,
like,
we've
nope,
turned off.
You need to go away. You all suck.
You could talk about one last book if you really wanted to.
What's that?
You could talk about that Avengers Annual I didn't read.
No, fuck off.
That's what I thought. All right, so
no. Yeah.
I was just fucking with you. I wasn't.
Here's the thing: it's Stuart Immerman wrote it, I believe. Stuart Immerman is a phenomenal artist, and he did a lot of the Supermans I gave you.
Yep.
And I made a point of showing you the art because we were talking. You're like, dude, that guy's everywhere. I've never looked at him. I'm like, no, he's really talented. This is basically a Superman book. A bunch of kid heroes or kid possible future superpower having people are brought to the Avengers Mansion during Christmas by Shang-Chi, who's taking them on a retreat to try and push them towards becoming heroes should they develop superpowers or something ridiculous. And they're met there by Banner, Captain America, Tony Stark, and the Black Widow.
All right.
Because totally, if I want to learn to be a superhero, the Black Widow is the first person I speak to. And then the Hulk. So Shang-Chi's bringing them all through, and one young girl, Darwina, or something ridiculous, Carmina, some sort of name where you're just like, no.
I didn't read the fucker.
Don't rub that in.
I didn't read the fucker.
Sneaks back. Now, meanwhile, everybody else is wandering off, so Cap's alone, cleaning up the tree, hanging out for Christmas. And Darwina has a superpower where if she's heard somebody's voice, she creates a mind doppelganger of the voice that then speaks like them and looks like them. So she's got female versions of Hulk and Tony Stark and Shang-Chi, all that are also versions of her wandering around.
Mildly creepy.
Yeah, very much so. And they're all like 15-year-old girl versions of them. So Shang-Chi's like uber hippie mellowness, and Tony Stark is some sort of insane horn dog running around like a loon.
Because that's new.
Yeah. And the Scarlet Witch,
I think that's a title. Tony Stark's running around like a horny loon. Because that's new.
It just gets more and more random as basically the Black Widow is like, they're all fighting their own voice versions of themselves, and they're like, I don't sound like that, I don't talk like that. And meanwhile, the Tony Stark one is just running around, setting things off, and some cheerleader robots show up that he created. And
cheerleader robots?
Cap's like, why are they cheerleaders? He's like, well, it's the holidays. I change it up regularly, it just happened to come out during cheerleader time. And he was in the middle of a summer vacation in the bathroom, which I still don't fully understand. And in the end, she's going to be a superhero named Good Voice, and they take a picture together for the holidays. Good
Voice?
It was so horrifyingly bizarre. And it was basically it's a Superman comic. Like, imagine all this happening to Superman on some
It
sort of-
seems very easy to imagine.
Yeah, it happens in Metropolis. It didn't make any sense whatsoever. I was totally confused. Good God. Like, I was just like, why is this happening?
All right. Yeah, I guess I will have to read it. It does sound like a little bit of fun.
It's worth checking out, but it is very strange, and you're going to be like, dude, no, stop it, no.
All right. I think we'll really call it even now. 'Cause now the credits are running, and
Bless you, fuckers!
and away
Away with what?
with you.
The Mean Geek is recorded live at the Reverend Mad Duck's apartment whenever the hell we can get to it. Find us on Facebook, Stitcher, Twitter under @TheMeanerGeek. Subscribe to us through RSS.
Or we can be located at our own site, www.themeangeek.com, and most importantly of all, you can find us as a proud member of the Comics Podcast Network.
Email us directly at themeanergeek@gmail.com.
Can I drink now?
You may.